All right, Jess, we are live on the community conversation. This is episode 26, 26 straight week that we've been doing these. I appreciate you being on. And for those that are tuning in that don't know, Jess is like, I would say probably our longest tenured member, like ever. So this is
Well,
like certainly a special episode. There's some other folks that are in that boat too, or in that category. But
I do call myself founding member. That's my title at CFP. Well, one of my titles. I have many titles, but one of them is definitely founding member.
well, we're gonna definitely need to hear about some more of those titles that you have. I'm sure some are mildly inappropriate if I was to make a quick guess. But yes, why don't we kick things off, and why don't you just kind of talk about your journey at CFP, or at Prototype for that matter, and how'd you find the gym, how'd you get started and all that stuff? Because I'm sure there's a lot of folks that are wondering, and some folks that probably don't know everything about you. So why don't we start there?
Sure. And thanks for having me. So I, grew up playing sports, pretty athletic, enjoy working out. I actually worked for Wayside Swim and Racket Club. They are a fitness center in Marlboro. I worked there for close to 10 years, all throughout high school and summers home for college. And so, I've always been pretty active and, going to gyms and stuff. And so in 2008, I was just about to have my first child. And I knew that following, the birth of Taylor, I wanted to get back into shape pretty quickly. And I just wanted to make sure that I was remaining to be active. And I didn't belong to a gym at that point. I sort of was walking and running outside on my own. And so Boston Sports Club was about to open. I actually went down there before they opened and joined because I knew they were opening right around my due date. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. So I joined the gym. I think I must have put it on hold for a month or a couple months or whatever. And so Taylor was born the end of August. I want to say it was the beginning of November. I was like, all right, this is it. I'm doing it. And so I went to Boston Sports Club on my first day, and they said, oh, we're going to assign you a trainer. I said, great. And I walk in and I was assigned Mr. Brian Zantzowicz.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally felt like I won the lottery. I was like, this is amazing. He's going to get me in the best shape ever. And Brian and I hit it off right away. I continued working out with him at Boston Sports Club. And that is where I met you as well. Taking, different classes that you guys offered. It wasn't called CrossFit at the time, but, boot camp style classes. And I did some boxing classes with Brian. I did personal training with Brian. And I'll never forget the day he called me on my cell phone. And he's like, so I have some news. And I was like, oh, okay, this is great. And, his wife I think she was just about to give birth, or she had just given birth to Macy. And he's like, I'm leaving Boston Sports Club. And I was like, what? He's like, and Mike and I are opening our own gym. I was like, oh my gosh, what? You guys are nuts. What is happening? And I was like, well, of course I'm going to follow you. Like, this is, you guys know what you're doing. I trust you. And that's how I ended up at CFP. So, even before CFP opened, I was doing the down at the Westboro High School track. We were doing workouts. For those that don't know, CFP used to be a clothing store. So even during the construction to what it is today, we were doing little workouts down there, and it was great. So I like to call myself founding member because I was with Brian and Mike even before CFP was CFP, and, came over right away with them.
It's so great to hear that and just kind of reminisce or just kind of think back to that, because that was in 2012 when we opened up, and
yes,
you, along with a bunch of other folks that were working out with us at Boston Sports Club, came over. But then we also had some new folks that kind of joined us in those track workouts, and that was kind of like the start of the community. What for you, or what have you seen in terms of changes? What's changed, or what have you seen over the last 9 years right? Because there's been like a lot of different stuff that's gone on. What are some things that kind of stick out to you, maybe from like the early days in the morning? I know you guys had a really fun morning crew and still do. Some of those folks have moved on and moved away, but like, what are some of those things that stick out to you? What are those memories you can, touch on, or things that come to your mind?
Well, that's so when, the initial conversation with Brian, and, at this point I had just had my second child. So I had Finnegan. He was about a year old, I want to say, when this all happened. And so I knew at that point that I needed to, in order to make it work, because I work as well, I needed to work out in the morning. And so I, remember saying to him, I knew that there wasn't going to be childcare. So I said, well, if there's not going to be childcare, then I'm going to have to, change my routine up and work out early in the morning, first thing, so that, because this is, it is important to me and I want to fit it into my life. And I actually think in the beginning, 6 a.m., there was a 5 a.m. class and a 7 a.m. class, and 6 a.m. was the, what did we call it? On-ramp, or like the on-ramp class?
It was elements.
Element. I think it was even on-ramp before elements, but yes, like when you first started. And so, right, when you first opened, there were a bunch of people that had to go through that class because they were brand new to CrossFit. And then eventually it slowed down a little bit. And I was like, okay, can we add a 6 a.m. class? Because 5 a.m. is a little early and 7 a.m. is a little late. And there were a couple of us that I remember, we were like, no one signed up for elements at 6 tomorrow. Can we just come and do the workout then? And that's, I think, how the 6 a.m. like official class started. Because at some point, there was like simultaneous classes at 6 a.m. and elements and a regular CrossFit class. And it just grew and grew and grew. And yes, I love those morning classes. I love the people. We've always had a great crew. And it's not the same as what it was then. New people have come and they're great too. And it's, I don't know, the community feeling, and it's been great. And I think now, well, of course, back then it was literally you and Brian were the only coaches for, from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. at night. And there have been so many different coaches over the years, but I really think that the coaches that we have right now are like some of the best. I don't really have a bad thing to say about any of them. They're all like unique in their own way, but they're all really, really great. So, I think that's been, I do like that change. I do love this set of coaches.
I know they'd appreciate that. What's your fondest memory, or what's something that sticks out to you that you remember that like happened, or something where you're like, either it's, it still makes you laugh to this day, or just something like in general? Because we've done, I mean, again, you've been here for so long. There's stuff that, maybe events that we've done that maybe we don't do as quite as much anymore. Well, obviously we weren't able to do with COVID and that sort of stuff. But what are some of those fondest memories?
One of my favorite memories, I think it was the first Open, so it probably would have been in 2013. And I had never cleaned 95 pounds. And the workout, it was maybe 13.2 or 13.3. And it was a ladder of clean and jerks and toe to bars. And I didn't have a toe to bar either, but going into it, I was like, I'm going to just try it. And I was like, I just want to get one. I just want to get one. And it was like something like a 7-minute workout. And I remember like being there with a group of people, and Brian was there, and I got my first 95-pound clean and jerk overhead. I only got one, but I got it. And everybody was cheering and everybody was just so excited, for me. And they're all doing the workout as well. And that I just like, that's the best part, is like, it's competitive, but it's not competitive against everybody else. You're sort of competing against yourself all the time. And just being at Boston Sports Club, no one would ever be cheering for you when you reach like a milestone lift or anything like that. So that's a good one. I'm always a big fan of the scavenger hunt. I had to miss it this year, which I was not happy about. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite things. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I love everything.
What, so since you've been doing this for so long, what would be your advice? Because you're probably like the best person to ask, right? So like, there's still folks out there that have never heard of CrossFit or never done it before, never done this style of working out or have been coached or have focused on goals outside of, maybe something like losing 10 pounds or 15 pounds, like the idea of like what you just said, like never clean 95 pounds and like that feeling of that like accomplishment and how all these things kind of like, it's like an amalgamation of all these things that kind of make up your fitness that you can have these like short-term, long-term goals to try to accomplish. So for like, from your perspective, like what's the advice you might give, or how would you talk about this to someone that's never done CrossFit before or done this sort of stuff?
I think people hear CrossFit, they get nervous. I can see as an outsider, it can be intimidating, but I do think, and I would say, and I do say to people all the time that it's so scalable. And, and I do believe in the true, functional fitness. Like you guys say it all the time. Like I do this because when I'm 80 years old, I want to be able to jump around and move around and get down on the floor, maybe play with grandkids and be able to pop back up and to, still be able to pick things up and carry things distances. And that's really right what we're training for, is to like live a long life and at the end of the life still be able to do the things that you love to do now. Yeah, maybe not as fast, maybe not as great, but still be able to do that and not, be, stuck in a chair or whatever. And so that is what I kind of tell people is, you can do it. It's anybody can do it. You start small and you work your way up. And yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. So there are definitely things that I'm going to be able to do that someone that doesn't do CrossFit isn't going to be able to do, but it doesn't mean that they're never going to be able to do it.
No, that's the perfect perspective on it and the long term, right? So being able to do things for a long period of time, that you want to do, be able to play with grandkids and all that stuff.
Right.
Speaking of kids, you almost got a full starting lineup.
Almost.
So how's that been? And you mentioned earlier, and I wrote it down, this is important to me. I want to fit this into my life. So you kind of rearranged your schedule to accommodate for yourself. And I'm, from my perspective, I've been doing this for a little while. It tends to work the other way, right? Is like you put everything else on the back burner. How have you been able to be so successful with that? Like, what's been your mentality to be able to, prioritize your health and do it for such a long period of time? And then now you've made it part of like your life and your family's life too. I mean, kids are working out and doing that sort of stuff and they're active. Like talk a little bit about that.
So, like I said, when CFP opened, I just had my second baby. And, especially as I was starting to come to CFP more and more, it really, and I say this all the time, it's my happy place, but it really is a place where I can walk through the door. And for that hour, it doesn't matter what's going on at home or at work or in, outside life, like everything seems to just leave my head. I can focus on what I'm doing. I'm surrounded by people that I, genuinely enjoy being around. And life is just great for that hour. And so I love that feeling every day, or, as many days as I can try to get it in. Sometimes I do sleep in a little, but so yeah, so that is really, really important to me. So if that means I have to wake up at 5 or 5:30 in the morning to do it, that's what I have to do, because otherwise it doesn't, I find if I sleep in and I don't do it in the early morning, then I have too many kids to try to squeeze it in later in the day. But yeah, I've gone through 2 pregnancies at Prototype, worked out both pregnancies the entire time. Felt great. I do think it would truly benefited, the delivery and afterwards recovery. And so that was great. So my kids, especially, Finnegan and Kira, they were used to coming to the gym all the time. They would sit there while I worked out. They would watch. Sometimes they would participate. It was funny because Amelia who's my newest, she's just over a year. So I had her in December of 2019. As soon as I got the clearance to be able to exercise again, she was coming with me to classes. And then unfortunately COVID hit, right? So I feel like she's the only one that hasn't been on the sidelines there. But yeah, and the members are so great. I remember with Kira, she'd be in this in her little seat or in the stroller, and Mark Mispelli was my babysitter. He would stay after his class while I was doing my class and kind of entertain her for a little bit. It's just, it was awesome. So yeah, it's important to me, so I make it work, because I am a better person when I come to CFP those days. Keeps me sane.
It's true, right? I mean, working out for your body, but also your mind.
Yeah.
That's such an important part. You mentioned you have nicknames. I want to hear the nicknames. I know founding member is your
member is my title.
Your title.
So we were talking about this morning. So my nickname is HBIC. Oh gosh.
That Finn?
Yeah, that's Finn.
Finn.
Okay, thank you.
You bring him on camera. Let's say hi.
No.
No?
This is what happens when you work from home now. Now people are flying by in the background.
I intentionally walk back and forth during Erin's Zoom calls because I think it's funny.
It's funny, yeah.
And I sometimes, dance and stuff like that, but it's okay.
So HBIC, which stands for Head Bitch in Charge.
And you guys make shirts and stuff? Or there's some...
Oh yeah, I've got shirts with HBIC. And so I don't know if you've noticed recently, I haven't had a gym bag for the past probably 6 months. Mm-hmm. I've been using grocery bags or plastic bags. And Lisa made me a homemade out of Fitness Lab bag, colored a shopping bag that said HBIC. So they actually just got me a new gym bag that has HBIC on the gym bag.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, so that will be making an appearance my next time I'm at the gym.
Is it bedazzled?
It's not bedazzled. I may have to, figure that out. But yes, so a group of us had gone down to Charleston, South Carolina, and we were doing this pedal tavern tour thing, and you're on this cart and you're supposed to be pedaling and you go bar hopping basically.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows you don't have to pedal. The thing is motorized, but they try to tell you that it's not and that you have to pedal. And so our driver, I was giving him a hard time, and I was like, I'm not pedaling. Sorry, I'm not doing it. And he's like, ooh, HBIC. And so that's kind of how and so now they all call me HBIC. But it was funny because this morning at the gym, we were sharing assault bikes. And so Irish Ann and I were going to share. And so we were trying to line up squares. And I was like, Tony, get out of my square. You're in my square. Go move to another square. And he listens and does it. And they're all like, HBIC, telling everybody what to do. And so now it's become a thing, and it's very funny.
Now, I did not know the origin of the of that nickname. I did know that was one of your nicknames, and you guys are making shirts and doing all that stuff. I love to hear that you got a bedazzled or you might bedazzle, but you got a bag, and it's classic Lisa to decorate a garbage bag for you, to give you an extra hard time about that, which I think is cool.
Having a gym bag. Yes. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Since you've been doing this for so long, you have to have maybe a top 3 or top 5 list of your favorite workouts. What are your favorite workouts that you've ever done at Prototype? Or could be open, could be benchmarks, could just be a programmed workout during the week. What's something that sticks out to you?
All right, so hold on. I'm not gonna answer that directly, but I'm gonna talk about favorite movements instead.
Got it.
So there are a few things. So I love pull-ups. I'm pretty good at doing kipping pull-ups, and so I love doing those. I love box jumps for whatever reason. Those are fun. I love hang power cleans. And I love long partner workouts. So most people don't know, but I actually, he's gonna say, no, I don't, but I do help John program the Saturday workout. He has to run it by me. Again, this goes with the whole HBIC, right? I tell him he has to run it by me before it's released on Saturday, and I have to give him the okay of whether it's a good Saturday workout or not.
I feel like there's a board that you might be head of, but I know a few other people that are in that same boat. Shout out to Colin Lake as well. He so you might approve it, and then Colin might say that's not hard enough or long enough. Add 15 more minutes to it or something along.
Well, so I do the same thing. Sometimes I'm like, no, it's not long enough. Like, it has to be long. It has to be hard. Like, Saturdays have to be long, hard, partner, but like true partner where you do get the rest. None of that like partner where you're both working at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember there was one time we did this where we didn't tell you guys what to do? Did you do that workout on Saturday? It was like you came in and we were like, we'll tell you when to stop.
Oh, I do remember that. I do.
I don't know why that popped into my head, but I just remember wall ball shots.
Yeah, we knew the movements.
And we're like, we'll tell you when to stop.
Yes.
Just keep going.
Yeah, I do remember that.
That was a good mental workout. Maybe we'll do that again. No. Everyone listening to this is like, no, please don't do that. Oh, so funny. All right, so pull up, box jump, hang, power clean. Those are your three movements. So there has to be some sort of like benchmark. Just
no, I'm trying to think.
Clancy, HBIC, call it the HBIC.
Benchmark. I think John, did he may have named a Saturday workout HBIC. I'll have to go back and look. I think he did though. I think there was one.
There has to be at this point.
I know.
Jess, we talked a lot about CrossFit. We talked a lot about your journey. Next thing is we have to get into these Spitfire questions. And I don't know if you listen to the community conversation, but I always say that I'm meaning to change these, but I just haven't yet. So
okay, I'm not going to be good at this because I don't watch TV and I don't watch movies.
Then,
but you can.
You got to have something. You're not prepared for this.
Well, all right, go ahead. I'm ready.
Okay, so favorite movie and TV show of all time / are you, or what is the last thing that you binge watched?
Okay.
Or maybe looking forward to binge watching. We can go past, present, future on this question.
So Sam kind of asked a similar question the other day, but my movie, like I think of a movie that I could rewatch and rewatch and rewatch, and this is so cheesy, but it's Sweet Home Alabama.
Okay.
Total, romantic chick flick. But only because I probably haven't seen a new movie since then. It was probably the last movie I saw. So I don't watch TV either. So this is the problem. When you take an early morning class, you have to go to bed early. And I've got a lot of kids, so it takes me a long time to get them dinner and get them to bed. So they pretty much go to bed and then I go to bed. And I work during the day, so I can't watch TV during the day. But I'm not done with all of the episodes, but I love Schitt's Creek. And I do try to squeeze that in. In terms of binge watch, I did watch 7 episodes of Bridgerton,
I've heard that show, yeah.
which I really, really enjoyed. And it's only an 8-episode season. And I refuse to watch the last episode because I don't want it to end.
So you're waiting until another season comes out or something?
Maybe, yeah. They are filming a second season, but I do have to watch that last episode. But yes, so I did sort of squeeze in 7 episodes like within a month, which I would consider binge watching.
Mm-hmm. So basically, when you retire, you're just gonna watch movies and TV shows just to catch up.
I know.
Awesome.
But I've never been a TV watcher. I like to read. So if I have downtime, I'm reading books. I'm not watching TV.
That's why there's a library of books under the table in the little, front desk area.
That is 100% why there's a
Your
CFP library.
The HBIC book club.
Yep.
So next question is favorite musician or band of all time, and then also I'll add in like your favorite song too for this.
So I've probably been to about 75 Fish concerts in my life. So I obviously love the band Fish.
You and the O'Dowds.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. I always run into Shano there. And I love I love the Grateful Dead. Mm-hmm. Been a longtime Grateful Dead fan. But let's see. Yeah, I mean, they're probably my favorite, but I do love a lot of music. Mm-hmm. Like, I love new pop stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. Favorite song? You got one? No, there's no one song in the rest of your life. You have to have something.
So if you ask Maria Maynard, she will tell you it's Gloria by Laura Branigan, which is like a cheesy 80s song, but I love it. I do, I love Michael Jackson. I love Madonna. Mm-hmm. I love Billie Jean, that song. Mm-hmm. So either Gloria or Billie Jean.
An expansive music genre from Michael Jackson to Fish.
Yeah.
I like it.
But I also do love Youngblood is the name of the song by 5 Seconds of Summer.
Oh yeah, I know that song.
That's
it's a newer song.
Of my favorites.
A few years ago.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. I love that song too.
That's a good song. All right. Last question is your favorite hobby. It's a favorite thing. What's your favorite thing you like to do? Could be that's not working out, but could be with family. Could be with whatever's your favorite thing to do. Your favorite hobby.
So alone, I love reading. If I have alone time, I definitely love reading. With my family, I love going on walks. Whether it's even if it's just around the block or, I live right on the border of Upton State Park. So I love going on family walks, whether it's through the woods, around the neighborhood, whatever. We're going down to the Cape for vacation. We're right on the bike trail. We'll do a ton of walks on the bike trail. So that's, that's fun. Awesome. Kids tend to anything that I can get them not to argue or whine or complain is generally a good activity. And usually they're pretty good about going on walks with me.
So that's basically your parenting advice for the episode is if you can find something that they're not going to whine and complain about, do it.
Do it.
Awesome. Well, Jess, I appreciate you being on the community conversation today. It means a lot to me.
Thank you.
To everyone I know that is listening. This was awesome. We got to dive into your brain and also your journey here with us at Prototype. So for all those folks out there listening, appreciate you tuning in. Remember, every week we have a new episode of the Community Conversation. If you ever want to be on the Community Conversation, just let us know and we would love to have you. So again, Jess, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.